Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the French Press Bookworks Author Roundtable. Today we're talking the discipline to write daily, and we're getting a little bit of a later start here. You're going to see Richard down at the bottom. He's one of our guest authors today. He'll be popping in and out here while we're working on some mic issues. But while we're going through that and getting Richard to join the call, I want to introduce Amanda, which you may know from previous calls. She has a really cool project going on, and one thing we do like to do is actually talk about what we're reading. And Amanda not only is reading something awesome, but she has an awesome project that tells why she's reading something awesome. So Amanda, tell us about the Diverse and Lady Book Project.
Okay, well, hi everyone. So I don't want to get political right away, but when the election results came out, I was really bummed. So I was trying to find a way to incorporate things that I was hoping to see more of in the world, in my life, and try to get other people in it as well. So I came up with this project for the year 2017 and maybe beyond, because I've got way more books now that I'll be able to read in a year. So it's called the Diverse Lady Book Project, where I'm only going to read books by diverse and female authors, and ideally diverse female authors, for at least a year, probably longer. So the first book I'm reading for that is You Can't Touch My Hair by Phoebe Robinson, and so far it is awesome. I laugh on like every page, and I read stuff aloud to my husband, and he's like, I don't get it, but it's really funny to me. So yeah, I'm gonna try to go kind of back and forth to start with, but I have a lot of stuff on like a long TBR list of mostly diverse female authors that I'm hoping to hit. And for me, I know I've gotten some questions about this. Diversity too is just sort of whatever you want it to be. So like I'm including LGBTQ plus everybody, disabilities, different religions, whatever makes you feel marginalized. I'm trying to read your books. So that's what
awesome.
I'm doing.
I love it. And so if you are an author of literature that you believe falls into the diverse category or represents a marginalized category, you can find Amanda's project on Tumblr, or you can reach out to her on social media. She'll give a shout to her social media here at the end. And I think that this is also really great because since you are a biracial woman and you often fall into that category of underrepresentation, that a project like this is started from somebody who actually represents the own voices category. I think a lot of times a lot of diverse book projects are kind of spearheaded by people that don't fall into the diversity, so maybe they don't pick the best books, or they pick extremely commercialized books. So I am super excited to see what you bring out.
I'm really excited for all the stuff on my list.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for your first book. I want to
I
read
know.
because we mentioned this a little when we were just trying to get everything working. People that have followed my personal exploits over the last couple of years know that I've lived for quite some time in East Africa. In East Africa, I did a lot of work in like very rural villages. I lived in a rural village. We had no electricity, we had no plumbing, we had no running water. And people were obsessed with my hair, and it drove me crazy why people would want to touch my hair. But I never put two and two together that that's what I did to my friends back home that had, you know, that gorgeous natural hair. And I'd always be like, let me touch your hair. I never gave that correlation. So I kind of relate slightly, not in the whole
kind of
scope of
the
things,
opposite way almost.
Yeah. So I just a small understanding of how that hair is so personal to you. So now I'm really curious to read the rest of the book and see if I can really understand the full context of what Phoebe is trying to say.
Yeah.
So
she's so funny. That's what I've loved about it so far, is that she hits really hard topics, but it's really, really funny. So it kind of just works where it doesn't feel like she's attacking anybody.
Awesome. And that's kind of what I think some bridges need to be made with, is having humor in in tough situations, because not everybody does well with hard-hitting facts. Some people do, some don't. Some need coddling, some need humor.
Yeah.
So hopefully she can bridge that divide, and hopefully you introduce more people to her book that maybe would have had.
Yeah, I hope so. And also the cool thing, sorry to keep talking about this, but I actually met her and she signed my book. So that was really cool too. And she is a wonderful person. So if you ever have the opportunity to meet her, she's the best.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
You go to so many author signings. I love seeing your collection and everybody that you get to meet. So
It's been really fun.
yeah. So today is January 6th for me, January 5th for you. And
Yep.
January 6th is a really important day in the history of your book. Why is that?
It is. It's my cover reveal day.
So if you are part of Amanda's launch team on Facebook, you've already seen the cover. So this is why launch teams rock, because you get sneak peeks. And when authors run their launch teams really well, which we'll talk about in a future episode, it's really a fun thing to be a part of. So I loved how interactive your debate was over the covers and how your launch team members were like breaking each one down. Like, no, it wouldn't be this one.
Yeah.
And I was trying not to be quiet. Yeah, I was trying to be quiet. Like, you're absolutely right. It wasn't because of that.
Yeah. The one person that was really breaking him down, she was my college roommate. She probably knows me better than anybody in the world.
Yeah, I think she nailed it. Actually,
She completely nailed it. Yeah. Oh.
We've almost gotten my.
Oh. I hope so.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this conversation today. So while it sounds like Richard is getting that microphone going, we'll go ahead and start, because I think he'll be able to chime in here shortly. I heard the fuzz of the microphone. So
yeah.
The cool thing, I'm obsessed with etymology and the history of words and the history of phrases and fables. So I thought it would be cool to kind of open up with the history of just a neat word every time as well.
That sounds cool.
So I got this cool book, Word Origins. I'm a big word
Very
nerd.
cool.
I also, under my computer, have a 2,000-page dictionary of phrases and fables that I read for fun.
Nice. I like
This
it.
is what we do.
That's very Rory Gilmore of you.
I've never seen the Gilmore Girls. I'm so disappointed.
Oh.
So a little etymology lesson for you today, since today's topic is writing daily. Actually, we're going to talk about the etymology of the word topic, which basically means a common place. And it comes from Greek philosopher Aristotle, who was a pupil of Plato, teacher of Alexander the Great, and he invented the word topic. He gave it to us. So it comes from the Latin root of topica, which is taken from ta topica. It's a title by a work by Aristotle on rhetoric. So I found that really interesting because I didn't know that it was, so many words have like Greek meanings, you know, or Greek roots, of course. And I just found it really interesting that it actually came from a title by Aristotle, and then it grew to the meaning of commonplace, but the original work was on rhetoric. So it's all kind of still tied together. But then when you think about it, every topic is potentially, you know, a form of rhetoric in one form or the other. So it actually works.
That's fascinating.
It makes you wonder if it was slang at the time, you know, if he was going around going, it's a topic, and people were like, no, topic will never work. Stop it.
Like fetch.
Yes. I was waiting on that. I was like, please say it. Please say it. All right. So the discipline to write daily. Amanda, tell me a little bit about, because you're writing, like, for those who don't know, we do have a writing group on Slack. Slack is an application that you can put on your computer, you can put on your phone, and we're kind of slack about the writing group. But that will change.
Yeah, I've been trying to, I should be better about that.
This year we're going to be better about it. At the end of last year, everything just kind of like whoa, and I think everybody felt so many emotions and things were just running
Yeah.
really high with so many changes around the world that a writing group was really the last thing from everybody's mind.
Yeah.
So we're going to kick into the Slack writing group better, but in the pen name publishing author writing group, like every day you're like, I wrote this, I wrote that, I'm on this blog, I'm on that. You are a very disciplined author.
I write a lot.
How do you walk us through your writing process? Like when you get up every day, how do you schedule your day? How do you say this is what I'm going to do? Do you set goals?
I use a bullet journal. And so what I do is I basically, I lay there and I make a list of what deadlines are coming up. And then I sort of have to prioritize stuff by deadline, because a lot of times it's either the same day or like day after day after day after day. And I try to write a couple different things a day. A lot of the stuff I'm writing is book reviews, and I love talking about books that I read. So those are actually pretty easy for me. I can crank out a book review pretty quickly. I don't really have it changes every day kind of depending on how I'm feeling. Some days it goes really fast. Some days I really have to sit there and like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to write this, but it's due. So it's all about deadlines for me. I don't think I would get anything done if I didn't have deadlines, which is sort of bad in a way too, because like my own book, I'm in the second round of edits and it's not done yet because my editor was sort of like, it's fine, you can take your time. That's bad.
As your book formatter and schedule creator, a little bit, because I'm like,
yeah, I know.
I want to get to marketing. Yeah.
Sorry, Deanna, I'm working on it.
I will edit chief role. Let's just talk about being like your marketing agent, your marketing point person on this book here.
I'm laughing, sorry, I'm crying. So, but yeah, it's all about, I have to be able to check things off. That's the main thing. I need like boxes I can check, and then the more boxes I check, the better I feel about myself.
So are your deadlines usually self-imposed, or is it a mix of self-imposed and freelance, or?
It's usually both. It's mostly freelance deadlines. Like there's one book review site I do that every Monday I was like, something was going to go live every Monday. So I knew that I had to have something done by like Sunday night, because putting it into WordPress takes some formatting and I had to find images and like that kind of stuff. So it's mostly deadlines like that. It's kind of the same thing if they just say, oh, you can turn it in whenever, then it usually, I drag my feet a little bit. It's really bad. I need to set deadlines. But some of them are kind of self-imposed too. If like before Christmas, I knew I had a week where I wasn't going to have access to good internet when we were visiting family. So I had this like page-long list of things that I was going to write early and like put into WordPress for all these things and just have them scheduled way out. So it's a little bit of both depending on whatever. I did do a year, I think it was 2014. I had a blog where I wrote every day and no one really read it, which was fine. The whole point was for me to teach myself to be a disciplined writer. So I just sort of have experience with cranking stuff out even when I don't really feel like writing.
Yeah, that's a good point though about your blog, because a lot of people that don't write every day say it's because no one's reading it, or they're not getting traffic, or they're not seeing results. But it shouldn't always necessarily have to be about results. Maybe you just write for you, just for the sake of writing, because it's your craft. And something that I'm kind of introducing some of you authors to right now that's really helped kick me in the butt on the relaunch of my blog is the collaborative blogging platforms like Medium, HubSpot, Naomi, I don't know how to say it. Naomi, we'll say. And I really like these because it has like incentives. So on like Naomi, for example, you do get paid, but it's not a lot. So you get like $1 for every 1,000 views. So did 7 blogs, yeah, and then I get $1 like for every person who joins on my referral link. So I made my first $1 yesterday. After
nice.
6 or 7 posts, I made my first $1, and I was like, yeah. And because I've been so focused on that. It
Mm-hmm.
it's the same blogs that like I'm blogging on my blog, but the cross posting those communities, and you get badges, you know, for like increasing your reach in a sphere, things like that. So some people need that extra incentivization that you don't get just from seeing regular stats. And I think everyone that I work with knows that I love numbers and analytics. And I'm always saying, track your Twitter, track your Facebook. What are your numbers? And people are like, shut up. So having one more set of analytics for me to be a goal helped me kind of kick back in. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to writing daily? Richard's back.
Yay.
I hear noise.
Can you hear?
Hello.
Hello. I had to
Welcome
restart the
guys.
machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was,
Oh,
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, so you can hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome.
Hold on, I'm going to try
We
my other
actually
headphones.
Okay.
I'll
I'm
answer your
gonna let
question while
Richard
you're
chime
figuring
in
out.
on the question that we just answered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
These are much better. Okay.
Awesome. So we just
Cool.
finished kind of like the introduction part, and tell us about your daily writing process, Richard. Like, obviously, the more that you write, the quicker pieces will get finished. Like in your daily writing, do you focus on writing for you, writing for books, writing for profit? What keeps you motivated? And how do you structure your writing to where you feel satisfied with what you've done?
I've definitely been writing for a long time. So longevity has kept me going, writing for myself for like a decade. And then after that, taking courses to improve my writing because I wanted to get better at the craft. And I always need to be creative. I need to do that in some form and stay creative. And the best way for me to do that is writing. And I don't have the best discipline with writing, but I have bursts where like I'm always writing, but in bursts. And I think there's also a balancing act where there's also editing and reading. For example, right now I'm finishing Naked Lunch, and I got for Christmas To Kill a Mockingbird, which I want to start. And then I've registered. I also I like to have like sparks to get me to get into those bursts of writing. When I do have like, I recently finished writing a few blogs, but I have works in progress, but I have to stay focused. I think that's something else I wanted to mention. I want to mention that with works in progress, it's best to stay focused and have one work in progress that you're working on instead of too many. And then like work on, like last year, for example, I was working on 2 works in progress, and I just want to work on one and finish that. And I've set a goal, and it's going to be my deadline is to finish writing it. I've got about 30,000 words complete, and I want to write another at least 30,000 words, like about halfway through it, and finish it. And so I guess one tip would be like to have one work in progress, stay focused, organized also helps. And yeah, I think with the discipline part of it, I've struggled a little bit with that. And I think I read in bursts for the most part. And yeah.
I think a lot of people kind of are inspired and write in bursts like that.
And this is why I like doing these roundtables, is because authors need to see different viewpoints from different people and different styles. So Amanda is very scheduled, very precise from what I know of her, very organized. Richard, you're one of our more artistic writers, and you know, you get the bursts, but what you put out in those bursts is quality and it's unique and it's different, and that's something that you can't force. And then me, for example, because I straddle that line, like Amanda, between the creative and the technical side, I am, when it comes to my creative side, insanely all over the place. And I have, 7 to 10 whips at any given time, and I'll work on one until I get tired, and then I'll work on the other. And then at the end of the year, I'll suddenly have 12 finished books.
Impressive.
No idea what to do with it from there. So it's interesting to see the different strategies, because for me, when you kind of like work on books all day, or, I might be sending out 500-600 emails a day or querying all day, I really don't feel like writing in my own book. So that, I think, is where the variety of whips works for me, because it changes things up a little bit, and it doesn't feel as static as like what I have to do every day. So like I have,
how do you do that
behind me?
How do you work on multiple works in progress? Because that was something I tried last year. Outlining?
Yeah, see, now I outline everything. So I start with, before I start a book now, I have the chapters outlined, and I have characters down to all of my characters, when they enter into the book, what they look like, what their names are, where my
I've got that as well.
I have each chapter outlined. Yeah,
I've got,
and that helps me kind of flip through.
That sounds meticulously outlined. I don't have I have like rough outlines for, I would say, 6 or 7 different works in progress, and they're rough outlines, and like I have like you, like outlines like that, but they're not so meticulous as yours are, in that they're very rough. They're from when I, like, my early days of writing, so they're not. I almost want to throw some of them away, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep writing and improve them. But I think one at a time. I tried last year to do 2 at the same time, because my writing has advanced since I've taken writing courses. But I find that I definitely have to stick to one work in progress now, as opposed to doing multiple. I have to be more focused. Organized is really good. Scheduling is really important. I think you touched on that. I think those are tips that I think I want to try to, I'm still new to this. I'm a new author. I just think that over the years, since my writing has gotten better and I've taken courses and I'm more serious about it, one work in progress at a time. I know you're saying you're doing multiple, but I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, I think what helps me with the multiple is that a lot of my whips, I only have 2 that are actually fiction. The rest of them are based on like my real life adventures, like living in Uganda, and then some things that have happened in India, and my journey with starting the not-for-profit and working in trafficking and things like that. So there's only so far that you can write on one of those until it just becomes too much, and so then you can set it aside. Now, if it was 7 creative fiction pieces, I don't think I could do it.
I would have a lot of trouble keeping voices distinct.
Yes, and so that's why I think it helps me, because I have a lot of it comes like kind of first person, I guess. But here's another thing is I don't set daily word counts, and a lot of authors will say set daily word count. So what do you guys think about this? Amanda, do you set daily word counts? Do you give yourself a daily goal? No? Is there a number for either? Sorry.
For what I do, it's usually more, I have a goal of how many like short pieces I'm going to write or how many chapters I'm going to write. It's more like that. It's not word count based. I actually have a lot of trouble with the NaNoWriMo, because the word count thing really, like, I get very discouraged very fast if like I get kind of behind. So yeah, for me, it's not about words ever. It's about, it's just a different way to track, I guess.
I was going to say, Amanda, I'll get a burst where I won't even notice the word count. But then there's other times where to motivate myself, though, I do have to look at the word count, and then I have to read over what I've written to motivate myself to write more.
Yep,
that's what I find. Yeah. So I guess there's 2 sides of it. I think a lot of times, though, I think you're absolutely right that not to look at the word count and just write and just kind of get it out, the creativity part of it. But I find it's a balancing act in that. I think I said earlier that you're going back and wanting to edit it and self-edit yourself, and then the editing is nonstop. I think the editing actually takes a lot longer for me than the writing part of it, because there's
me too.
the different levels of editing for sure that take so much more time. I know, like right now, the work in progress, I'm part of a writer's circle. I'm a writer's circle that I'm going on Sunday, where I'm going to get feedback, and I think it's going to motivate me to write more. But I need that feedback, another set of eyes to look at the writing before I just go crazy. Before I go crazy, right? So instead of that,
Do either of you edit while you write, or do you write and then edit at the end?
I'm constantly going back.
I do a little bit of both. If I'm writing, like if I'm really into like a fiction piece, like I'm writing a new book or something, I usually do end up doing quite a bit of self-editing, because I have to reread what I wrote like the day before or whatever to make sure I pick up with the same voice and like in the place I thought I left off and whatnot. And then I end up doing some light editing as I'm rereading. But I usually don't do a lot of editing, and I think that's just based on the creative writing classes I took in college where they told you not to. So I do a lot more, like I do like the grammar stuff mostly. And then when I'm at the end, I usually have to like put it away for a while and then I can come back and edit it better. Yeah.
I find I'm almost obsessive about it. I was just going to say, I find I'm almost obsessive about going over it and over and over it. And sometimes it's better just to keep going and maybe not going back so much.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what my college professor told us. But
yeah. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
I was just I hate when you're laughing and it zooms in on you. That's the worst look in the world.
Yeah.
Do you think that the editing distracts you from writing? So if an author is saying, I'm having problems moving forward, or I'm having problems writing daily, would you recommend that maybe they write for the day, take notes on what they wrote, and then maybe lock that writing up, print it, lock it up, and then move on?
I do think that might work for some people if they're having trouble moving forward. If they think they are becoming kind of obsessive with the editing part of it, it might help to just sort of even open like a new document and just look at notes and start fresh. That's what I took a creative writing class in college. That's what I keep talking about, where we had to write a novel. Like that was the whole purpose. And we did like a fake NaNoWriMo in February. And she told us that if we edit anything during, it's going to distract us to the point where we probably won't finish. And it really scared me. I don't know if it's true. I think a lot of people do edit as they go, but she really scared me. So I didn't do anything. But I did actually, that's the only book I ever wrote where I was sort of like what Richard said, where he has to have another set of eyes. My roommate, the one that actually was guessing the cover things, the same roommate, she was reading each chapter as I wrote it for that class. And I was the only one in the class that was letting anyone read it. And they're all looking at me like I'm an alien. Like, you're letting someone read what you wrote as you're writing it? Like, well, she's sleeping in a bed below me. What am I going to do? She wants to read it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so,
I don't know.
We're running to the end of the chat real quick.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Richard.
Oh, I was just going to say that sometimes the problem with motivation is psychological, and that you think that nobody's going to actually read it. And then you think no one's going to read it, so why even bother writing? And that can be psychological, and sometimes it gets me down. Although I think I just go back to when I first started writing, like for many, many years, I was just writing for myself, and that's always what keeps me going, because I just enjoy it so much. I don't know. I just think that the creative output part of it. But I mean, the fact that sometimes it won't see the light of day because there's, so much indifference. I mean, that can be, it can get me down. I think it gets most writers down. And it's sometimes you can just lock yourself out from even noticing this, like realizing that nobody else is going to want to read it. And I don't know, I kind of laugh at that though, because I mean, I just write for the enjoyment of, enjoy the creativity part of it so much, and something for myself. But quality is so important to me. Quality is very important at the end of the day.
But is quality, when you're trying to train yourself to write and get in that habit of doing it every day so you can finish, is quality as important that first round as just getting it done?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think it's really interesting that the novel that I'm finishing to read now, it was so far out there from the observation of the author, and then he explains how he was so so far gone, like his drug addiction and struggle with drug addiction, and he explains it now, and I'm just getting to the end of it, but it's just it's fascinating. But he's really good at writing, although it's like I can see he was in parts where I think that like I would have done it differently, and then like maybe some writers, like I'm not saying William S. Burroughs is a great writer. I don't know, like he's obviously, well, he's published, but there's parts in the book where I'm almost thinking, is he just writing this for himself and maybe not so much for like to get a good message across? Because I don't know if he's trying to say, like, I don't know what his message really is in the novel. He's kind of explaining himself, though, why he had such a far gone observation through more than half of the book at the point I'm reading, and I've just getting through now. So, but anyway, I think getting to your point, sorry, I didn't mean to deviate. I think getting to your point, though, just writing at the end of the day, like just to get the words out. And I think you can just write for the sake of writing, just write crap and, hope that somebody's going to, make it better for you. I think really, though, it's you that has to take I think that the quality part of it is you do have to have like an outside looking in that, is anybody going to really want to read this? Is this something that an issue or something that is going to compel somebody to read it? And instead of just writing like dribble because you want to write for the sake of writing.
Yeah, my
I
whole
don't know.
philosophy is flesh it out, and then fix it up. Otherwise, like we talked about earlier, you can edit, and you can just kill that book to death through editing, and you can get off track and you can get discouraged, and then you get into that psychological breakdown. Is anyone even going to read this because I've edited it so much, and since I've edited it so much, maybe it's not that good to begin with. So I always say flesh it and then fix it. And one thing when I'm going through and working with some of our authors and editing books, that I can pick up when an author is fatigued in their writing because their voice does change. And you can see where their trademark style of writing is suddenly missing from some passages that could be really great. And that's when I know that they're fatigued. So I'll note those and say, okay, I think you pushed yourself a little too hard to get through this part. Look at some of these other parts of your book that really represent your voice when you were really on fire, and put that voice into this part. And I think that kind of ties into what you just said with William S. Burroughs. So we're actually reaching the end of our time here. So I want to just do kind of like a quick recap on some of the points that we've had. It's basically the discipline to write daily is going to come from yourself, and you've just got to do it. You've got to enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, you've got to find out why and make yourself do it. You've got to get past those psychological barriers, and you have to not be concerned if people are going to read it until you're actually ready to let people read it. This is something that we see a lot in writers groups where people are saying, I can't write because no one's going to like it. If you don't write it, no one will know. So break through those barriers, write for yourself, and then the right viewer will find you. And then just, if tracking makes you happy, if analytics makes you happy, if having a finished product makes you happy, find your end goal and get yourself there. To kind of close the discussion out, is there anything else that either of you would like to kind of add in maybe 3 or 4 sentences about advice for authors that are struggling to find that discipline to write, or any pieces that you might have left out in the discussion about your discipline, or why you're disciplined or why you're not disciplined?
Something that helps me when I'm having a day where I'm just not in the mood to write, there's an app for Android. I don't know if it's on iOS or not, but where that you can, it's called like Write-O-Meter, I think. And you can set a timer for 25 minutes. You just like write for 25 minutes straight. And then you stop. Like it goes off and you can take a break for however long you need to. Or there's an option like, I'm on a roll, do another 25, then it just starts over again. And that's it. And that's been really helpful for me when I'm kind of in slumps where I'm just like, I just have to get through 25 minutes. Anyone could do that. I just have to get words out. So that's something that I would recommend, is even if you don't have to have the app, you can just set a timer too.
Awesome.
I think just a few points. I just have a couple of points, I guess, that I've already mentioned, I think, is focus, organize, schedule. I think with focus especially, what I'm going to tell myself is to work on one work on one WIP at a time instead of doing multiple. I think what's the Write-O-Meter? I think I've heard that before. Is that like where you're checking your word count, Amanda?
It is. It's mostly a timer, but you can also track your word count on it. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's a way to another way to motivate yourself is to read over your writing and get yourself back into, like, if you use the Write-O-Meter, that might help. I think that's a good point. There's different tips, I think, to stay organized, because like you can have plot outlines. I have 6 or 7 20,000 word outlines, but if it's not organized though, and if you're not focused on it entirely, then it can kind of because a novel, when you think about it, the 6 or 7 that I have, the work in progress, is they're not even, they're about 20,000 words, but a novel is, I think it's around 40 or 60,000. It should be, I think Slaughterhouse-Five is a very short novel, but usually over 50 or 60. Yeah, that's right. So, and that's a lot. So, I mean, you have to stay focused then on your work in progress. And I wouldn't be jumping around to your other ones. I would, because you always want to read back and make sure it all makes sense. What if you are just pushing yourself to write and then you give that to an editor and the whole thing doesn't make sense? I mean, that's a horror story. I mean, I wouldn't want to. I mean, I do a little bit of editing with my day job. It's not novel editing, but I mean, when it doesn't make sense at all, it's really difficult to. I would feel sorry for the editor. So to try to make the writing quality, I would say try to stay focused, try to stay organized, take writing courses, motivate yourself, use the Write-O-Meter. I think that's really good. Challenge yourself with the word count. Yeah, read, and I think there was something else. Oh yeah, and you should self-edit, and also give it to be in a writers group and get others to read your writing, and before you want to send it out. It is a lot of work to be a writer, but I think if you follow, like, if you just push yourself, then it's not easy, but it's the creative part of it is so much fun. That's all I was going to say. I think I went a little bit heavy there, didn't I?
Why you read so much is like, you have, it's okay. Toni Morrison said if you haven't read the book that you want to read yet, you have to write it. And so you need to read to get inspired, or to find different plots or different. You never know what's going to inspire you. So, for instance, I'm typically a nonfiction reader. I'm a creative nonfiction reader. I'm a big fan of people like Bill Bryson. I read a lot of business books, but lately I've been pushing myself to read fantasy and to read sci-fi because it's so out of my preferred genre. And I'm really finding it surprisingly interesting, and it's helping me to understand a little bit more about fandoms and I don't think it will necessarily inspire my genres or what I write, but it's bringing a new twist to how I approach other books or just marketing or things of that nature. So I think this was an excellent call. I think you both brought up a lot of points. I really want to thank you for taking the time in your preparation and giving us an insight into how you work as an author. I think it's going to be really helpful for people to see how different types of authors write, give them some goals, some tools, some techniques. And now I want you guys to give yourself a shout out. So we'll start with Amanda, then we'll go to Richard. Tell us your social media and your website. And
Okay. So you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Amanda Marie GH. I'm on Instagram with the same handle. I think my Facebook is AG Hansen Author. That's my author page. And what else do I have? My normal website where all of my like writer blogs are, that's browneyed20something.com. And then my Diverse Lady Book Project is diverseladybookproject.tumblr.com. That's me.
And your book cover.
Oh yeah, and my book cover comes out tomorrow. Well, today for you, tomorrow for me.
Today for me. I'm already on it. 12 EST on pennamepublishing.com. The cover reveal for Amanda's YA novel, Something Beautiful, goes live. So look out for that. It will also be on our Facebook page. Richard, how do we find you?
Sorry, I'm late to the game with this. I think there was something wrong with my machine. So I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity, Dion. And my name is Richard Tattoni. You can spell out my last name to find my, it's Tattoni. It's a little bit maybe difficult to spell or pronounce or whatever, but that's my last name. And if you find my, or you can find my website, it's Richard Tattoni, and I write YA for older teens, and I also have an unofficial blog site, The Great Beyond. It's a blog spot, and I'm also I have a presence all over the internet with a YouTube channel, and I'm also on Twitter. I'm mostly on Twitter and Facebook, and again, you can just search. It's Richard Tattoni, and I'm also on Instagram and Tumblr. But I'm mostly on Twitter. I think Tumblr is more difficult to find because it's Stupendous Song Winner is the like thing on Tumblr. I'm still new to this technology. I'm old, so you have to forgive me. And I'm always wanting to reach out, and I like the creativity of new technology. It's pretty cool, but I try not to be on it too much. And I think the discipline of writing is probably, it's funny, it kind of contradicts itself that you want to write, but you're on social media and that prevents you from writing. But anyway, now you know where to find me.
Awesome. We're so glad that you got your microphone to work, because I love when we can get
Sorry about
a
that.
good variety of authors with the, no, please, you know how many times we've been doing this and my camera's gone out and my microphone's gone out and my internet wouldn't work, and it's, trust me, you came on and we got to hear from you, and that makes us all so happy today. So thank you guys so much for giving up your evening. If you want to see what our future roundtables are, you can go to frenchpressbookworks.com/author-roundtable. You can sign up to be one of our panelists. You can also watch previous episodes from that same webpage or from our YouTube page. You can subscribe to our YouTube page, so that way you get notifications of all new videos and episodes, because we have some other great things coming up in the form of videos for you. If you want to talk to me, you can reach me all social media at Girl vs City, Girl vs City, and then I just relaunched my personal blog at girlversuscity.com. If you need some help with author platform, author success, launching your blog, getting that going, hit me up. That is my specialty. So again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. I'm really looking forward to next week and our next chance to chat with great authors. So have a good night's sleep and write some tomorrow. I expect a full report.
Okay.
All right. Good night. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.
Bye.